From the birthplace of intercollegiate basketball, we present another season of high school girls basketball. It's the annual Pat Paterson Thanksgiving Tip-Off at Hutton Arena. Coming up, the Stillwater area Ponies host the New Prague Trojans. Hi everyone, I'm Mike Peden, joined by Alex Nagel, and I'm glad to be bringing you my 12th season of high school basketball coverage. We're going to be all over the Metro as usual. Alex, we've got a couple of teams that are dark horses in the 4A field. Stillwater showing some promise, though, a year ago, and they've added Alexis Pratt to complement the likes of Sarah Scalia.
You know, Mike, Stillwater's an interesting team. Of course, last year they added Maddie Whittington, a 6'3" freshman. Now, unfortunately, she's hurt and she won't be playing for the team for a while yet, so that's a big loss for them. But it will be interesting to see how Alexis Pratt fits into this team and how much she brings to the table for Stillwater.
And they do have some multi-sport athletes, including Rachel Houle, who was part of the state tournament volleyball run that Stillwater completed this year. Over for New Prague, you may remember them as a powerhouse back in their days in 3A. They've been in 4A for a while, and not a lot is known about them, but as always, opening weekend is a chance to make a great first impression.
Well, you look at New Prague, this is the team that graduated a nice trio of seniors, including Macy Deal, who's now at Duluth. So they've got some youngsters coming up, and it'll be interesting to see how well they, come to the table here right away to bring their skills and how much they can improve from last year.
Which team will start the season undefeated? We'll find out. You're watching high school girls basketball. And welcome back to Hutton Arena, the birthplace of intercollegiate basketball. Alex, you and I have been on hand for a few years now at this event. Not as illustrious as it used to be, with St. Thomas taking a lot of the Catholic teams over. And a couple of regulars, Kenyon Wanamingo, for example, not taking part this year. But we've got a look at some pretty good teams. Como Park and Orono are going to be in this event. Yep. Minneapolis North returning after a few years. White Bear Lake and Eastview as always. So we'll get kind of a look at some of the perennials and some up-and-comers who are hoping to make a mark.
Well, it's just a fun event, and it's a real good opportunity to see these teams in action, at the opening of the gate of the new 2017-18 season. Look at New Prague, now led by head coach Luke Swedberg, who was an assistant under Chris Vanderhyde at Park Center for a few years, where they won some state titles. So it'll be interesting to see how New Prague transitions with a new system, a new philosophy.
As you may know, Chris Vanderhyde went back to the MIAC after a 4-year run at Park Center. Won 2 titles there. But Park Center, with some new directions. We've got a couple of 4A schools here that are hoping to do the same. Stillwater finished under 500 a year ago. They did have a good stretch early in the season where they picked up some wins that got people's attention. And Alexis Pratt, she played for North St. Paul a year ago, was one of their best players on a team that struggled a bit, but she was also a key component of a strong track team that did well in the relay event. So Stillwater picked up a big-time athlete despite the 5'3" frame.
Well, again, that's that multi-sport talent that you alluded to at the opening of our broadcast today, Mike. And, when you have a player of that ability who can bring speed in the backcourt position, that's going to be huge.
And before we get started, Alex, I want to know, do you still see the Rams getting into the Super Bowl? I know that loss against the Vikings, the NFC North leaders, was tough to take.
I was there. It was disappointing, especially in the fourth quarter when we fell apart offensively. But, we'll see how we rebound Sunday against New Orleans at home. I still think we can do well. I'll just be happy to get into the playoffs and win a game. The Vikings are a very good team, and it wouldn't surprise me if they wind up in the big show in early February.
So we put the starters up on screen for you, but just a quick recap. New Prague will start Emily Schmitz, Amanda Giesen, Michaela Schmidt, Mackenzie Holgate, and Emily Russo. They're in the black. Stillwater in the white. Rachel Houle, Sarah Scalia, Allison Benning, Alexis Pratt, and Liz Ogren. And we mentioned the coaching credentials of New Prague's Luke Swedberg, Stillwater, a fabulous head coach, and Willie Taylor, you may remember him when he led St. Paul Central to back-to-back 4A state titles. Alexis Pratt banks in the three to get us started. I was on hand a year ago when she played against Henry Sibley. It was a game won by the Trojans, but Pratt left quite an impression on a Polars team that didn't have a lot in their arsenal. And Stillwater is not the most prolific 4A team. Hopkins is number one. Well, I don't think that surprises anybody. Eastview a perennial. Lakeville North. Your usual suspects are in the thick of it, but Stillwater has a couple of pieces, Scalia, Pratt, where they could be a dark horse. That Suburban East Conference is going to be wide open this year with East Ridge and Woodbury and White Bear Lake, Roseville even. They all finished tied for first last year. They graduated a ton of seniors. That could open the door for younger teams like Stillwater and Cretin-Durham Hall to make a statement.
I was just going to say, like you talk about coaching credentials, Dean Stambaugh, one of Willie Taylor's assistants, was right here at Hamline for a number of years.
Pratt fakes a three, drives, can't bank it in. Fight for the rebound, and it will be a jump ball. New Prague with the arrow. Nice heads-up play by Pratt to get the steal off the inbound, but she's in trouble. Another jump. Stillwater with the arrow this time, but nonetheless, Alexis Pratt catching New Prague falling asleep.
Well, I tell you what, right away you're seeing the versatility of Alexis Pratt, how quick she is, and what a disruptive force she is on defense.
Pratt has it. Prague, entry feed to Houle was too high. Rachel Houle was one of the top volleyball players for Stillwater this year. It was only 2 weeks ago where she was at the XL Energy Center as the Ponies made their first trip to state in volleyball in 8 years. Nice fake by Pratt. Oh, Benning couldn't put it in. Well, one thing Pratt's bringing to this team, a lot of speed, and we're just 2 minutes in. Trojans on the drive. Here's Holgate. Can't hit from the corner. Houle corrals the loose ball. Here's Scalia. Scalia on the break. Misses it.
And I think that's one thing we saw Benning's missed bucket down there just on the previous possession and this last one. You're going to see those mistakes in these opening games, I think, here, Mike.
As is the case on opening weekend. Practice started just last week, so the teams that are taking part in these Thanksgiving tip-offs, Hamline, St. Thomas, Elk River decided to host a 4-team tournament this year. They've had 7, maybe 8 practices at most. And getting fouled going to the line is Emily Russo. And in the case of folks like Rachel Houle, who are coming over from other sports, it's a real quick turnaround where you go from volleyball, state volleyball one weekend, to basketball the next Monday.
No rest for the weary. Russo not being able to put the first one down. But I tell you what, 5'11", sophomore, very strong, very sturdy. She's definitely going to be a force for New Prague.
Well, here's a tight situation for you. Elk River and Holy Angels are both in a conundrum. So tomorrow, Elk River having their tournament games in the morning so that they're to avoid conflicting with the football team who's playing for the 5A title. The Holy Angels football team is playing for the 4A title this afternoon. The girls are going to attend that game, and as soon as that's done, they're going to scurry over to St. Thomas for their 9 o'clock showdown with Dowling Catholic from Iowa at St. Thomas.
Talk about trying to be in 2 places at once.
3 fouls on the Ponies. Amanda Giesen will shoot 2.
Another sophomore for the Trojans.
And Giesen gets the Trojans on the board. Well, Alex, I know you will be doing double duty of sorts tonight. You don't cover UCLA, although I don't think you would complain if you did.
Well,
you'll be cheering on your Bruins tonight as they look for a new coach.
I'm hopeful that we'll pull off a win against Cal here tonight to make ourselves bowl eligible. We'll see what happens, but if Josh Rosen plays, and I think he will, we should be okay.
Pratt walked before she dribbled. That's a traveling violation, and that's something you'll see more often in November, December. Once you get to February, early March, those kinds of miscues will be cleaned up.
And keep in mind, Mike, she's just a freshman. She's only going to get better and better.
And remember, she has varsity experience from last year. Well, Pratt hoping to add her name to the list of athletes who don't let height get in the way. And, well, Pratt, some good passing skills. Her teammates just having a hard time finishing. Benning missing another basket now. But I'll say this, Stillwater's getting after it.
They are. They're doing a good job defensively.
And a quick substitution before the inbound. In for the Ponies is number 10, Megan Lampright.
Pratt will take a breather. And a well-deserved one at that. Oh, wow.
Three-point play chance for Emily Russo.
Russo using that strong 5'11" frame that she has to muscle inside. She finished.
Another sub in. Actually, Stillwater going with several subs. We're going to get them caught up here. Peyton Brugers, number 43. And number 23, Tori Shute.
Probably another area of concern for all the coaches out there right now at the beginning part of this season is conditioning.
Inside feed pays off, and Mackenzie Holgate scores, so New Prague
nice bounce.
Gets 4 points out of that possession.
Nice bounce pass by Russo, finding her.
And they take a 6-3 lead. Brugers. Double team, draws the foul. It will be the first assessed to the Trojans. And we spoke of the coaching silly season. Here comes Alexis Pratt. Some player transfers as well. A big one that may have influenced De La Salle getting number 1 in the preseason rankings for 3A. Elena Jones, who was a standout post player for Como Park, transferring over to De La Salle, and they also added Kiani Lockett from Minneapolis South. Lockett was a 7th grader, so she could transfer. Whoa, Pratt almost traveled, drives, comes up short. Stillwater having a little trouble finishing short-range looks, but they get the steal here. Tori Shute comes up with it. Shute bounces over to Brugers. That's Ogren now. Tori Shute again. Bullseye. That ties it up at 6.
Shute, the 5'7" junior, knocking that one down.
Pratt going for the steal, and that will net a traveling violation, so she didn't get the strip, but she did force Michaela Shimmick into a walk. Pratt's really impressing me in these opening minutes.
Well, I tell you what, she's already showing what a disruptive force she is on defense, and that's going to cause nightmares.
And hoping to join the likes of other diminutive basketball stars in this state that demonstrate that height is not the only indicator of success, although Pratt can handle the pass there. One player that comes to mind, Tia Albert, who still holds the career scoring record at Tartan. She will be transferring to Fresno State after a couple of years at Indiana. And she will also finish up her MBA, Masters in Business Administration. Scalia cannot knock down the 3, and a jump ball. New Prague with the arrow anyway. No subs yet for the Trojans, 5.5 minutes in. Stillwater already going 8 deep. And Stillwater's head coach, familiar in the basketball community, also highly familiar with this event. St. Paul Central took part in this Pat Paterson Tip-Off for many years.
Oh, yes.
And they still do, just with a different coach. And then Willie Taylor was an assistant at Hamline for a while before returning to high school. Scalia with the steal. We're tied at 6, 12:20 to go. Pratt swings it around. Benning has it now in the corner. Brugers. Ogren looked a little off balance, and a dead ball rebound to the Trojans. And speaking of notable names, you mentioned one of his assistants, Dean Stamba.
He was at Hamline here for a number of years.
Another assistant, Kevin Anderson.
Oh, wow. Yep.
Who's been part of Willie's staff for years. The money ball of prep basketball, volleyball, and badminton.
Yep.
Caught up with him a little bit because, if I show up at any basketball event, I get like several coaches and parents who all want to say hi. And Rachel Hull was next to him and another teammate, and Rachel forgot my name. Kevin had to offer an assist. Three on the way, sinking it is Mackenzie Holgate, and that gives New Prague the lead once more. 9-6 is our score. Megan Lampright out to Ogren. Benning. Shakes a defender, goes back to Lampright. Stillwater taking their time, and you can do that without a shot clock, of course. Lampright backing off for a reset. Three ball. Brugers can't hit from the corner. Ogren chases in for the O-board, and shooting free throws will be Allison Benning.
Good hustle by Benning, the freshman, grabbing that rebound.
And going back to Elk River, I don't know if you had a chance to look at the preseason rankings. While it was expected with Elk River graduating 6 seniors, including last year's Miss Basketball, Gabby Hawk, it's still a shock to see the defending champions not even make the top 20.
I haven't had a chance to, but just the mere fact of you mentioning it really seems crazy. I mean, this was a team that, it's just one of those once in every 25, 30-year teams that you get. And I'll tell you what, they were something to watch last year, and I'm not surprised at all. You heard me state more than once last year that I thought Elk River was going to win it.
And they did. And for Hopkins, we'll see what happens as the year goes along, but they've been oh so close as New Prague knocks down another three. That's Emily Schmitz.
Another senior.
Trojans build a 5-point lead, but let's see if Stillwater can respond. That's number 31 who backs off and will not take the shot. That's Grace Cole. And a foul underneath. For Hopkins, the last 2 years, they've been oh so close. They could have had another three-peat on their hands at the very least, because they fell just short to Minnetonka in 2016. And then came within a few points of knocking off Elk River. I know it's a bit strange to ask in the case of Hopkins, but is this the year where they finally get past that hurdle and win another title? I know it sounds strange because they've won so many of them, but it's the most powerful program in the state, and they haven't had a lot to show for it in the last couple of years.
Traxler got caught in some traffic down there.
Lob And going up, finally getting one to bounce in is Allison Benning.
I like Lampright's play on there. She lost the ball but got possession of it again. She did the smart thing and got it down to the post.
New player in for the Trojans, but unable to hit the turnaround was Russo. Subbing in is number 51, Sally Traxler. Three on the way, and that's going to miss everything. And a little bit of a bump. And that's going to work out in Stillwater's favor. As the ball went out of bounds, and I believe Emily Schmitz went over to touch it. So Stillwater catches a break. They'll get a side out here. Minnetonka also ranked in the top 10. They have a lot of returning pieces, although they didn't have a dynamic playmaker after Chrissy Carr moved to Manhattan, Kansas. She'll go to Kansas State next year. Park Center, they're a team that's going to be searching for a new identity.
They really are.
And they were ranked in the top 10 in 4A, but I think they've got a lot to prove. St. Michael Albertville, another perennial. They're always tough to beat. White Bear Lake always seems to get into the tournament. You never want to count them out.
Especially with head coach Jeremy Post.
And Lakeville North, another perennial. Scalia for three. Short. Benning. Oh, couldn't corral the rebound. And Pratt fouls Emily Schmitz. A double whammy against the Ponies. And you're wondering what the Stillwater area consists of. I've had a chance to get familiar with that over the last few months working at Valley Access Channels. It's Stillwater, Oak Park Heights, Bayport, Lake Elmo. Those are some of the cities that make up the Far East metro area.
It's good to get a chance to cover a team like Stillwater for a guy like me living in the northwest suburbs.
And how about that? You know, the Northwest Suburban, I know that's your conference.
Yeah.
You know, is Centennial going to take the catbird seat here?
You know, I would lean in that direction. Jill Becken has a lot of talent coming back this year.
Traveling violation on Pratt. 7:57 left in the first half. New Prague up 12-9.
Dribble the ball first.
And a traveling violation on Schmitz.
And as we're seeing here in this opening game, Mike, for both teams, both squads struggling with some turnover problems here. But as the season goes on, those problems, those little mistakes will get ironed out.
Another conference you may want to check out this year, the Tri-Metro.
Now that could be good.
Make what you will of preseason rankings, but in the first poll of the year, De La Salle number 1, Holy Angels number 2. I may have to make a couple of dates for those two, and maybe we could get a Tri-Metro showdown in 3A, although schools like Hutchinson and Orono may have something to say about that.
One thing as I watch this New Prague team, Mike, they're exhibiting some of the characteristics that I saw at the Park Center over the last few years. You know, getting up in transition on offense, speeding up the court. That's something that Luke Swedberg really believes in.
This is Russo. Another steal, Megan Lampright's got it. 3 on the way, another miss.
Good hustle by Lampright getting that rebound.
Lampright with the long deuce. And if Stillwater can convert some more of these turnovers,
yeah,
well, they could be in a prime position. There's another steal at Scalia, and she draws the foul. They've been playing the more aggressive defense. They just don't have a lot to show for it through 10 minutes.
Lampright's going to get a well-deserved break. Maybe not.
Just getting a quick word with Willie Taylor. And I spoke with him briefly, and he said, we're coming. He's been at Stillwater now for a few years, and he said, we're coming. And you and I know him well enough to know that he's never going to overestimate or overstate where his team is. He's also not going to say, he calls a timeout. Stillwater looked a little out of sorts there. He's not going to claim championships. He's very level-headed, very grounded, but when he says we're coming, he says we may not look strong now, but watch out for us come section time.
Well, as they say, championships are not won in November.
And sometimes it takes a while to build up a program.
Yeah.
And how many times, Park Center, they came so close all those years with Caleb McMorris.
Yep.
Before they won a couple of titles. Minneapolis South, they had Taylor Hill for 5 years.
Yep.
It took her up until her senior year to finally win a state championship. Taylor did something that is hard to do, even if you're Hopkins, as we've seen, and that's repeat. Everyone kind of gave him the trophy in 06-07 when he had the super team. But when folks like Angel Robinson and Abby Gust, Ebony Black all graduated, to me, the 08 win was more impressive. Another foul. That's the last to give for the Trojans. It will go against Emily Russo. Pratt to Lampright. Scalia sees a hole. Got it.
Nice drive by Scalia on that. Driving right into the heart of the New Prague defense and finishing.
And Scalia will be a likely fulcrum for the Stillwater team. Their success may depend on her. And we'll be seeing Stillwater again on Tuesday when they visit Como Park.
Ooh, might have gotten away with one there.
Willie Taylor believes that Shimmick did, and
Russo finishes down low.
Emily Russo getting the basket for the Trojans. So New Prague may have gotten lucky there. Scalia out to Pratt. Thought about the three, but a little too far out. She'll drive and will shoot two.
The thing that I think has to impress just even the average casual fan when you watch somebody like Alexis Pratt play is how quick she is with that first step.
Pratt with the front end. And there are a lot of guards of her mold. Rain Adams comes to mind. Players who don't have a lot of height, but they make up for it with speed. Remember, she was on a strong relay team as an 8th grader for the Polars last year. And that team won their 100 and 200 meter relay events, as a backcourt violation is called in New Prague, at the Hamline Elite Meet, which is considered the top non-state tournament meet, the top non-playoff meet in the state. Of course, that event held just down the block at Claus Field. Scalia to Pratt. And she walked again. Well, maybe she's a little too quick.
Well, I just think you can chalk it up to early season miscues.
Well, she'll learn. Again, she's going from a team that struggled in North St. Paul to that's a push foul going to be called on Lampright, I believe. Last to give for the Ponies. You're going to a team that doesn't have a lot of history, but as William Taylor said, we're coming. They have a lot of potential. Whether it's enough to compete with the likes of Hopkins and Eastview, well, who knows? But their conference will be interesting to see how they play out. And another bump on Allison Benning. Free throws coming for Emily Russo.
Benning was a little too aggressive there on that one.
You know, a few of these Suburban East teams, White Bear Lake and Mounds View, have taken part in this event for a while. Mounds View has struggled. And Russo missing the front end of a 1-and-1. The Trojans just 2 of 6 from the free throw line. Scalia drives, foul before the shot, so 1-and-1 coming. And the Minneapolis North team is here. They'll be playing a little later today against Mounds View. And speaking of changes, some reclassifications, of course. Robbinsdale Cooper going down to 3A. They're one of the top teams. Yep. Kiara Buford has done a great job building that program up. Minnehaha ranked number 2 in 2A, and then Minneapolis North and Maranatha both classing up to 2A this year. So Maranatha, they have a little work to do. Well, they've qualified to 8 straight state tournaments, but 2A may be a different beast, especially with all the losses they had last year. No Elise Moore, for example. Scalia splitting, and we're going to have free throws at the other end here. Amanda Giesen. And another change, we were kind of joking about this last year as Giesen gets the ball back and gets a three-point play in reverse thanks to the O-board. Ellen Weesey back to high school coaching.
Yep.
Spent a year at St. Thomas and now took over for Eden Prairie, replacing Faith Johnson-Patterson. In case you're wondering, Eden Prairie and Orono not scheduled to play each other this year. Pass intercepted by Benning. Oh, Pratt
did a good job recovering on that.
I was going to say, Pratt, even I was at a loss for words. Pratt, step back. Off the rim. Rebound. Tori shoot. Oh, not a great entry pass. Emily Russo picked that off easily. 3:40 and counting. Drive coming up short was Michaela Shimmick. Rebound, Allison Benning. She's been active so far. Lampright, kick out to Pratt. She fakes the 3, goes up, and a late foul. She'll shoot 2.
Good job by Pratt, finding a little crack there in the New Prague defense and creating the contact.
New Prague so far. Well, now we see another player in.
Mackenzie Holgate just checked in for New Prague.
And Izzy Blanchard making her first appearance. Pratt blanks on both. Scramble for the board. Picked up by the Trojans. Holgate. Almost losing it was number 12, but she recovers. That's Amanda Giesen with the score. Scalia sees a hole, comes up short. Giesen with the rebound, loses it. Benning is fouled. Stillwater's defense keeping them in this. Double bonus now for the Ponies. And as Benny goes to the line, as you may know, I'm not with School Space Media anymore, but for those of you watching, a new partnership is upon us here. I will be a sports producer with the BMA cable network, Comcast Channel 937, and so the hope is that we'll be able to put a few games, including this one, on Twin Cities cable television.
That'd be really
so
great.
Anybody with Comcast can tune in on a Saturday or whatever time we decide and catch a replay of some great matchups that we're going to bring you. Basketball, we may look into doing some hockey this winter, and starting a rebrand effort. We'll see where this goes.
I'm just glad you're part of the high school sports scene, Mike.
And so are several coaches as Benning splits. I talked to a lot of them, and even Carl Pearson, the head coach of Waconia, saw some of the old archives I got too as Luke Swedberg calls a timeout. He asked me, are you going to be doing basketball this year? So there are a few coaches and parents who aren't ready to let go of me just yet.
I think as we close down here toward the end of the first half, I think both coaches have to feel good where they're at right now score-wise. A very tight game. But at the same time, I'm sure there's a lot of disappointment too, a lot of missed opportunities, a lot of turnovers. Those are some of the things that they're going to have to iron out here in the beginning of the season.
.240 remaining. A low-scoring game. Amanda Giesen with 7 points. Mackenzie Holgate with 5. Your notables for New Prague. Nobody for Stillwater has more than 5. As cliche as it sounds, adjustments will be key in the second half, specifically who can become more efficient. I think Stillwater, if they were more successful off those turnovers they created, I think they'd have a stronger position. That being said, it's been a close game.
Yeah, it really has.
Neither team is led by more than 5.
Ooh,
and
there's a pick.
We've got a blocking foul called on Grace Cole, so free throws coming for the Trojans. They're still in the 1-1.
Well, good job by Sally Traxler there. The 6-foot senior, she really took a blow on that pick.
Tori Shute will sub in for Pratt. And New Prague getting after it on the offensive glass. Emily Russo will shoot 2. Both teams in the double bonus.
I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Emily Russo here in this first half for New Prague. I think she's going to be a very good player for Luke Swedberg.
And as Russo's at the line, another potential perk about this new venture I'm joining over with Pete Rhodes. There may be some professional coverage, not game coverage like this, because the Wolves and the Vikings, they've got their own staffers for that. But you might see a few remotes and stand-ups from Target Center and the Super Bowl. As you know, Super Bowl 52 is coming to the Twin Cities, and the Final Four a year after that.
Wouldn't that be great if my LA Rams were in it?
Don't sleep on the Vikings, and don't sleep on Scalia.
Better not. Just like that, she closed it to a 1-point game here.
Pass tipped, recovered by Blanchard. Jump ball, Stillwater with the arrow. 1-point game, 21-20.
I'll tell you who else is catching my eye here in this first half. It's Lampright. She's not big on size, but she's got a lot of heart. She's getting in there and making things happen on defense.
Scalia off the heel, rebound, Mackenzie Holgate. Dive, and we're going the other way. I was saying, don't sleep on the Vikings, and definitely don't sleep on the Eagles.
No.
The only one-loss team. And how about the Saints, who've won 8 in a row?
And that's who we play Sunday.
That's going to be a tough bracket to get out of.
Yep.
Whether it's your Rams who get through, or the Vikings, or who else. .90 seconds to go. Holgate can't get the bounce. Rebound went to Grace Cole. And they'll still be involved with Valley Access Channels in some capacity because they're expanding their sports coverage. So I'm sure you'll see me at a few Stillwater games for basketball and hockey. Scalia off balance, puts it down.
Good job by Scalia.
Scalia
move and finished in some traffic too there.
Scalia starting to find a groove. Less than a minute. Deflection and interception by Peyton Brugers. Cheryl Reeve preaches deflections in drills with the Minnesota Lynx.
Now here's a chance for Stillwater, Mike. They're up 1, coming down, 40 seconds left to play. Time to go for a good high percentage play.
And
high percentage basket.
I was going to say, Stillwater getting themselves a chance here through a deflection. Well, regardless of the level, it pays to get in those passing lanes. And Stillwater electing to hold for the final shot, which you can do without a shot clock. .10 seconds. Stillwater should make the move shortly. If Scalia can find a lane, she has to launch it. Too strong. Stillwater will not get a chance for a retry. But they do take a 1-point lead going into halftime, 22-21, as Scalia found a late burst in the first half in terms of scoring.
Well, Mike, an interesting first half. Again, a very close game, just 1 point separating the two teams. Again, a lot of mistakes here and there, some turnovers, and those are the things that you expect in the first game of the season with just barely a week of practice under their belt.
We'll take a break and come back. We'll run a couple of highlights from the preceding game, Bloomington Kennedy and St. Paul Central, that kicked off our 2017-18 season. You're watching high school girls basketball, the 18th annual Pat Paterson Thanksgiving Tip-Off. Pass along the schedule, or I can send it to the Craigslist thread. We're still waiting for the Stillwater Ponies to return to Hutton Arena, but I can assure you that Alex is with me. Alex Nagel, that is. Mike Peden with you as well. Pat Paterson Thanksgiving Tip-Off, the 18th annual rendition. And here come the Ponies, who lead 22-21 over the New Prague Trojans. Leading scorers in the first half, Amanda Giesen with 7 points, Emily Russo with 6, Mackenzie Holgate with 5, Sarah Scalia with 8, Alexis Pratt has 5. Those are your notables. Neither team led by more than 5 in the first half. It's going to come down to efficiency, I imagine. Stillwater's defense, I think, if they can convert on a few of those turnovers they create, they could come away with this. I think they're in a stronger position, at least from the defensive standpoint.
Well, definitely, I think efficiency, like you stated, Mike, and I would also add defense as well. And as you mentioned, I think if Stillwater can create enough of those turnovers and then make something off of those turnovers, that could at least give them a little bit of a cushion here in the second half. Again, I've always said that the opening 4 or 5 minutes of the second half, those are the most important moments in any game.
Getting a slightly different look to this year's Pat Paterson Tip-Off, as New Prague goes quickly, and Emily Russo scores. Well, no Kenyon Wanamingo after they've been up here for a couple of years. Megan Flum was one of their standouts. And And as we noted earlier, the Catholic schools going to their own tip-off event. Scalia drains a tray. Her second.
Right away, both teams trading blows here, but no real separation as of yet.
Long two. Unable to put it in was Holgate, and the rebound to Pratt. Now let's see if Pratt can clean things up in terms of ball control in the second half. Got called for a couple of traveling violations, and that's going to be an over-the-back foul on Rachel Houle. Houle, a senior. And that's the third on Houle. She didn't see much action in the first half, picking up 2 quick ones. And we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Little pump fake. Holgate can't put it in. Russo's there for the putback.
Well, Russo right away here in this second half, Mike, establishing herself down low. Nice offensive rebound and put back there.
Russo up to 10. We're tied at 25. Scalia. Long skip. And unable to bank it was Ogren. Dive for the ball. Picked up by Holgate. She's all alone. Goodbye. Scalia for 3. Not this time. Rebound Giesen. Lampright with the poke. I should say that was Benning. Pratt with a burst of speed. Converts the layup.
I tell you, she's just so quick and so fast coming down with that court.
Almost as quick as your forehand stroke, right?
I would say my first serve, but you got to remember I hit flat like Jimmy Connors, so.
3 ball. Bullseye. Amanda Giesen. She goes up to 10. And now we're seeing the offense pick up after a slow first half. Pratt dumps it off to Benning. Stillwater taking their time on this set play. Ogren has it in the left wing. Scalia, a little deke. And will not get the bounce. The rebound goes to Giesen.
Good patience by Stillwater on that possession though, Mike.
And a reach and foul is called on Ogren. And to continue our discussion on changes from a year ago, Minneapolis North, we mentioned they're going up to 2A. They have a young team. They've got Jasmine Jackson back after an injury, forced her out midway through last year. They've been on the cusp. They're watching this game right now. They've been on the cusp of making a statement in the Minneapolis City Conference, but they haven't had a quality win since Crystal Flynn took over, but they're coming together. And Luke Swedberg is hoping to get this New Prague team together as Emily Russo goes to the line. And New Prague over the years, again, they were a powerhouse in 3A. They've been pretty strong in 4A.
And again, you look at a team that graduated a great trio of seniors, particularly Maisie Deal. I think Luke Swedberg definitely has some good players coming back. And one of them right now is at the line, Emily Russo, and she's really come alive here at the opening moments of the second half.
Russo splits. Neither team shooting that well from the free throw line. Pratt with the deep 3. Off the mark. As you may know, on these college courts, we use the red line, and that's going to be an offensive foul against Michaela Schimmick. The red line is the high school line, and someone forgot to stop the clock. So we lost a few seconds there. Well, it's opening day. Everyone's a little bit rusty. In case you're wondering, the clock normally does not run unless we get to 35 or more. Pratt drives, was cut off. Emily Schmitz sealed the lane. The loose ball goes to Tori Shute. Stillwater with another chance here. Pratt open in the corner, fires. Swish.
Bingo.
Pratt up to 10. 31-30. Another foul, this time on Allison Benning. And Stillwater's got to be careful with that. That's the second time, I believe, this half where they've been hit with some silly foul calls here.
I felt, though, that three-pointer by Pratt was huge for Stillwater. They were down by 4. And in the early moments of this second half, they certainly didn't want to get themselves down into a hole early on.
Another foul on Pratt. That's the 5th this half for the Ponies.
And that's got to be a concern for Luke Swedberg. Or rather, Willie Taylor.
Now again, neither team that successful from the free throw line, but you don't want to give them freebies early. Michaela Shimmick penetrates and scores her first basket of the game. Pratt with the counter. Yes.
You know, Pratt is just one of those few players that have that takeover ability in a game.
She showed glimpses of this a year ago with North St. Paul and making a strong debut for the Ponies. Emily Schmitz scoring for the Trojans, and the back and forth affair continues, but the Trojans hold a 3-point lead. Scalia pulls up, drains the runner.
Nice drive into the lane by Scalia.
Scalia up to 13. And Stillwater applying some full court press here. New Prague able to break it. Holgate takes advantage. These teams had trouble buying baskets in the first half. Now they're coming in bunches.
Well, that's that efficiency thing you were talking about earlier, Mike.
Well, not a very efficient play there by Pratt. She turns it over, and New Prague puffs it up.
Just slid that foot just a little bit. She got caught.
That was Brooke Buth, number 10, who couldn't put on the brakes. So a break for the Ponies. They still trail by 3.
Lampright, the junior, back in now for Stillwater.
Three on the way. Shute can't knock it down. Rebound Schmitz. Trojans still lead by 3. Stillwater bringing the pressure again. Holgate fakes the 3. Long 2 is short. And a couple New Prague players bump into each other, but they still come up with the O-board. This is Shimmick. Skips it over to Holgate. She can't knock down the 3. Houle comes in for the rebound. We have not seen much of Houle in this game. Again, because of the early foul trouble. We'll see if she can stay in there. She has 3. It's got to be careful here with 11 minutes to go. And I imagine New Prague will try to take it to her. Shute used up the dribble. Gets out of it with Brugers.
Ooh, let's see what happens here.
That was a bailout. Giesen was in position to poke the entry pass away, but made contact with Houle. And Giesen, was that her 4th?
I believe so.
They're not keeping track of it on the scoreboard, but Michael Zamacona, an old friend of mine, mentioned it on the PA, and another foul on the Trojans. This will go against Brooke Buth.
He's made a quick retreat to the bench, so I have to assume that is her 4th foul of this game, Mike.
So 2 players with 4 fouls. Well, I should say 1 with 4. Houle has 3. Stillwater turns it over. But once again, New Prague. This has happened quite a bit. They force a turnover, and then almost instantly, they give it back up.
I'm sure it's mistakes like those that keep all coaches awake at night.
I thought you were going to say it's what makes them go for the Excedrin.
Or the Tylenol PM, rather.
In your case, I'm guessing your remedy is what you call God's sweet nectar.
Something like that.
Have you tried the salted caramel variety yet?
Yes, I have. It's very good.
I haven't. I will find a way to use it. I don't know when. Poole missing the three-pointer.
She's got to be careful here.
New Prague in transition. Unable to finish. Emily Russo. They'll hang on to it. I'm going to say...
Well, good job by Hoole avoiding picking up that fourth foul on defense and that fast break opportunity that New Prague had.
I take it you're familiar with, you remember Crystal Pepsi when it first came out.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you remember the short-lived Pepsi Blue?
It was one of my standbys when I was a student at the University of Iowa. Uh-oh.
Scalia standing out in the second half. She'll have a three-point play chance. Scalia up to 15. You know, Abe, what is your drink of choice when it comes to soft drinks? What is your drink of choice? He's the Arizona tea guy. Oh yes, and Fiji. Don't get him started about Fiji.
Well, Scalia completes the three-point play, and once again we're deadlocked.
Well, the idea behind this is, you're right, Scalia does, is that with this new partnership, if I just mention all of these different company names, maybe one of them will notice and come to me with a sponsorship. Stillwater in transition. Pratt couldn't put it down, but she's fouled. And that's not the last to give for the Trojans. They have one more, but once again, New Prague bailing out Stillwater. And I don't phrase that in the sense that Stillwater's the inferior team, but New Prague, I mean, all the turnovers they give up, they foul Pratt after she missed the transition look to give the Ponies another chance. And they still got it. Pratt fires the three.
Boom.
Swish! And that's what can happen.
There's some more
Pratt up to 15.
half-court pressure here.
New Prague breaks the pressure again. Schmitz. Forced into a jump with Pratt. It will stay with the Trojans.
Good job by Pratt there.
And a timeout is called. New Prague calling timeout. They have 3 remaining, 9:09 left. Well, Alexis Pratt, strong second half, just 5 points in the first half, 10 in the second frame.
Well, she's really coming alive here in these last few minutes. Just dropping the three-pointer here just a bit ago. And certainly, Luke Swedberg and his coaching staff have got to find a solution for that.
And even without Maddie Whittington available, we'll see if and when she is able to return. Alexis Pratt has already changed the dynamic of the Stillwater team.
No question about it.
And if you're New Prague, you're still in this. Again, now the team is led by more than 5, and Russo and Giesen and Holgate are making a nice triumvirate here. Poole, that will be her 4th if that's on her. Russo going to the line.
And it is.
Emily Russo.
The more I watch Emily Russo play here this afternoon, Mike, the more impressed I am with her. And you know she's going to be a big part of this New Prague team. And she's only a sophomore, too.
Of course, the question is, how will she handle, and this New Prague team, the rest of them, how will they handle the Wright County Conference? I believe that's where they're located.
Yeah.
And you're going up against Hutchinson, the number 3 team in the preseason rankings, Orono, the defending champions, out of the top 10, but they've built themselves into quite a program.
It's almost like being in the NFC South these days.
Pratt for 3. Yeah, in some ways, yes. Hutchinson and Orono have traded blows in that conference for the last several years. Stillwater applies the pressure, and Scalia comes up with it. She's short. A collision between Scalia and Buth. Benning leaves it short. Jump ball. New Prague with the arrow. A missed opportunity for the Ponies.
Sure was.
And this question may be impossible to answer, but we're having a discussion. I think the arrow may have been, okay, the arrow was in the wrong direction. It is Stillwater ball. But if you were to venture to make any guesses on the toughest conference that you've seen, and with all of the rural areas, maybe a hard question, but what is that? What would you say is the toughest conference?
I think that Wright County Conference, that's just a killer.
The South Suburban's pretty good too.
South Suburban's
Lakeville
very
North.
Good. Now, of course, I'm very partial to the Northwest Suburban Conference. I think, you look at this season, I think as a whole the conference is probably down a little bit. But you look at where they've been here the last few years. If you get through that conference with a title, you've got quite a basketball team if you get through that conference.
Scalia to Pratt. Pratt's been turning it on in the second half. Gives it up to Brugers for now. They were trying to set her up in the corner. She'll drive instead. Come up soft.
Ooh, Pratt got a little aggressive there again.
I know Pratt's aggressive, wants to get after it, but ill-advised move there. You commit a foul 90 feet away from the other basket, and you send New Prague to the line. But that's just me. 1-on-1 scenario for Michaela Shimmick. She has just 2 points, and Pratt will sub out.
And a missed opportunity for New Prague.
Scalia. Well, that would have been big for the Ponies. But they get the O board. There's Tori Shoot with it. Scalia lobbing it. Benning having trouble. Fine shoot. I don't know how. And she knocks down the 3.
The southpaw. And now a 4-point lead here for the Ponies.
I thought Benning was going to cough it up. She just threw the ball out in desperation. Maybe against a more alert team that becomes a turnover, but Stillwater catching a break there, and Shoot capitalizing on it with a capital C. New Prague with a putback. Mackenzie Holgate scores. That makes it a 2-point margin. Again, neither team is led by more than 5.
Good response there from New Prague, down 4. There's a foul.
And that's the last foul to give on the Trojans. Ruth Buth colliding with Scalia. Scalia lost the dribble. And Shoot with another save. This time, her hustle play will get her to the line as she draws the foul on Shimmick. This will be a 1-and-1. You'll be cheering on your Bruins, but after I'm done with this, it's off to St. Thomas for me.
Should be a fun set of games over there tonight.
And they set it up to have their feature games at night with Cretin, Durham, Hall, and Lord, followed by Holy Angels and Dowling. But De La Salle in there, again, the #1 team in the preseason poll. Scalia swoops in for the steal.
Yep, and she got caught with a high
but
dribble.
she carried it. Lost the dribble for a moment and it cost her. New Prague having trouble finding a target. They get it off just in time. They've got an opening here. Scalia pokes it away. And Stillwater got it off of Sally Traxler. So Stillwater's hustle play on defense
Well, Schmitz
comes up big.
Schmitz for New Prague, who was down there, was throwing it awfully very parallel to the baseline, and I thought that somebody from Stillwater had knocked it out too. I think that's what they were a little surprised on that.
Lampright finds Pratt. Lampright calling for it. Pratt doesn't see it. She's going to take it herself and came up against a double team there. 3-point margin, just a one-possession game. Wild shot, jump ball, New Prague with the arrow. Inbounding it is Schmitz. Traxler in trouble. And a jump.
And right away, Luke Swedberg sending in Russo to bolster that front line. And Giesen comes back in as well for New Prague.
Getting down to crunch time. Just over 5 minutes to go. Scalia drives and scores.
Now a 5-point game here with 5 minutes left in this contest, Mike.
Scalia was among the leaders in 3-point field goals last year in the state. And she may be the new leader for the Stillwater girls team this year. Gets the rebound after the high shot from Blanchard. And Scalia Jr., this is only one game, but showcasing her potential. And she's come on strong in the second half as well. Comes up short on the drive there. Benning, no putback. Scramble for the ball, won by the Trojans. Amanda Giesen has it. And she's called for traveling. Megan Lampright in her face, and she coughs it up. Lampright having trouble. Scalia comes up with it. Foul from behind. Bullseye!
Boy, that could be the play of the game right there.
Scalia up to 21. She has 13 points in this half.
Great job by Scalia maintaining her balance after the contact. And a 4-point play by the Ponies. All of a sudden, here's New Prague looking at a 9-point deficit here, Mike.
Stillwater playing Kennedy tomorrow. And a big response from Amanda Giesen. She sinks the triple. New Prague needed that one. But it's a 6-point game. Stillwater briefly led by 9, their largest. The largest for either side. Scalia, entry pass for Houle, intercepted by Giesen. New Prague, Holgate, off the bounce pass from Giesen.
Nice response from New Prague. They didn't hit the panic button when they were down 9.
Does New Prague have one more surge left? They're looking like it. Scalia off the screen, gets rid of it. And will be hit with the offensive foul.
Interesting how
No, they're going to call it a loose ball foul.
Interesting how things changed here so quickly. Looked like Stillwater was in firm control with that 9-point lead, but now here's a chance to get back within a single possession here for New Prague.
Well, in our first game, Bloomington Kennedy fought off a 10-point halftime deficit to defeat St. Paul Central. Kennedy going back to 4A this year. And you and I were on hand a year ago in that Super 60 event when Osseo came back from 23 down.
Oh boy.
To beat Bloomington Kennedy.
That was incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah, it may not have been the biggest highlight with both those teams at the time not in a strong position, but that was something. Emily Schmidt splits, but that does make it a one-possession game again. So New Prague with a quick 6 points. Benning had to get rid of it. Lampright for 3. No good. Rebound bounces right back to her.
Good hustle by Lampright there, getting that offensive rebound.
And Stillwater able to reset. 3 minutes to go.
Ooh, almost a reach. Oh, it was.
And it was. Free throws coming for Scalia. Scalia, the game leader with 22 points. And I've got a feeling she's going to be leading in scoring a few times this year. This team didn't lose a ton in terms of production. And Scalia continuing to pile up points here in the second half. And even though this has still been a tight game, that has made a big difference. Scalia and Alexis Pratt stepping up here in the second half. Scalia makes both. She has 16 points in the second half, just had 8 in the first. Pratt, 10 in the second half, 5 in the first. And all of those points crucial here as Stillwater hangs on to a slim lead. And Benning fouls Shimmick from behind. She'll shoot 1 to earn 1.
These are big free throws now for New Prague. This is where you've got to cash in.
Shimmick had not made a free throw until that point, just had 1 field goal.
And the senior doing a good job of getting both of them, and again, a one-possession game here.
New Prague 9 of 15 unofficially from the line. Stillwater 9 of 13. So pretty even there. Pratt, little shake and bake. And she'll shoot 2. Stillwater in the double bonus anyway.
Well, again here, Mike, here's where New Prague has got to find a way. Still a lot of time left, coming down on 2:20.
The last 2 free throws give Pratt 17 points. She has 12 in the second half. Schmitz off the screen. Gets a friendly bounce.
Well, that was a good screen set by Giesen up there at the top of the key.
New Prague keeps answering. They will not go away. 2:06 left. A timeout is called.
Already some early season drama here.
You and I have had our share of it over the years.
We have, and it's always been enjoyable.
Well, speaking of drama, you and I hadn't met at the time, but I remember the first time I covered this Pat Paterson event. It was 11 years ago, the 7th annual version, when they played it in a tournament structure. They only had 4 teams back then.
Right.
St. Paul Central and Centennial. You know, Central had that undefeated year, 31-game winning.
Make a night.
Yep, they had that. It was 34, the 34-game winning streak because they had won the day before.
Right.
Yep, the Centennial team that had Make It Night, they got knocked out by Osseo, I think, that year in the section
I was
round.
at that game.
But Centennial, they trailed Central for most of the game, stayed with it. Make It Night had 32, and Centennial ended St. Paul Central's winning streak. Of course, the Minutemen would go on to win the title that year. Pratt sees a hole. Oh, that would have been big for Stillwater, and New Prague can tie it on this possession if they wish.
You're right there, Mike. That was a huge opportunity for the Ponies, and they could not cash in.
I mean, Pratt's going to go for it. She's a bit of a gunslinger that way. Is not going to shy away from a scoring opportunity, but
Tori Shute just checked in for Stillwater.
But Pratt's miss opens the door for the Trojans. Now they don't need a 3.
Ooh.
Oh!
Whoa.
Looks like one of the officials caught it. Mackenzie Holgate, double dribble. Yep, the official on the far side caught it.
Just like that, the opportunity comes and goes for New Prague. Luke Swedberg.
The official on the far side caught it. And Stillwater, in theory, could run out the clock here. New Prague, I imagine, will try to go for a steal. If they play foul and chase, Stillwater in the double bonus, so it's 2 free throws the rest of the way. 1:20 to go. And Stillwater, this is the keep away offense.
And there's the steal.
Lob. Oh no! And New Prague, they got to get control. Holgate scores!
Wow, what a great steal by Russo.
Stillwater threw a high lob. That's a no-no. And New Prague make the most of it. It's a 1-point game. Here comes Pratt. Misses it. Poole with the rebound. Finds Benning. Pratt for 3. Yes!
Oh, what a dagger by Alexis Pratt.
40 seconds. Not over yet, though. New Prague, if they score quickly, still in this. Schmidt can't put it down. Here comes Pratt. Draws a foul. I think Stillwater's going to hang on.
Yep.
That last triple gives Pratt 20 points. What a debut in her first game with a Stillwater uniform.
Well, I tell you what, clinging to a 1-point lead like that, ice water in her veins there.
And she's a freshman, and if she hangs around, perhaps a bright future with the Stillwater Ponies. Willie Taylor's going to call a timeout, but if you're a Stillwater fan, you can breathe a sigh of relief. Ponies are going to walk out of here most likely with a win.
Well, I'll tell you what, you look at this New Prague team, they've been in this thing from the opening tip, and I think if you're Luke Swedberg, you can come away from this contest, even though you have to take the L. I still think that there's a lot of positives that you can take going forward from this opening contest.
Well, Alex, I hope this isn't our last game together. I know you mentioned you'll have to step aside in February.
That's right.
So, I'll have to make use of you through January, and then I'll find your replacement. I don't think it'll be too hard now.
Well, I'm not looking forward to having hip replacement surgery done. But it's something that I have to have done, and hopefully it's something that'll will allow me to get back on the tennis court here again by this next summer. So,
but I know you'll be keeping an eye out after surgery on the games, MIAC and
absolutely.
The high school games as you recover. We'll have to see what unfolds, but I'd say this is quite the debut. Hard to tell if Stillwater's going to be a front runner in 4A, but this is a good start for the Ponies, fighting off a resilient New Prague team. 15 seconds to go, and New Prague's going to call a timeout here. Might as well use them. We'll be here for a little while longer. Again, tough to say if New Prague or if Stillwater will be a front runner in 4A, but you have to like the core they have with the veteran in Sarah Scalia and the newcomer in Alexis Pratt.
Oh, absolutely, no question about it. And I think if you're New Prague, again, I think there's a lot of positives you can take going forward from this game. The one thing, for instance, when Luke Swedberg was at Park Center, the Pirates didn't have a lot of size as such to speak of. Here at New Prague, he has that.
I knew it wouldn't be long before he went back to Park Center. By the way, they have a new, they redid the court.
At Parks, I was not aware of.
New paint job, and they moved the scoreboards.
Oh, wow.
So the scoreboards are no longer hanging way up on the rafters of their athletic facility. It's now at gym level.
Well, that's good. I'm anxious to see that.
The question is, how are they going to move forward with the new coach and a virtually brand new team? But a lot of questions will be answered. Most of them will have to wait until after opening weekend. But a good start for the Ponies. 3 on the way. Goes in. Emily Schmidt scores, so not quite done yet.
Not time to put the daisy on this one just yet. I've seen a lot of crazy things happen.
Well, New Prague calls a timeout, but here's what has to happen. They have to get a steal and another three-pointer. I don't know how many timeouts they have left. They're going to reset the clock to 8 seconds, but that doesn't really change anything. Because if you're New Prague, you've got to find a way to get the steal. If you don't, then it's game over and Stillwater wins. And what is that? Chris Bierman is in front of us. He's the head coach of Maranatha. I presume he's here to check out Como Park, one of his opponents this year. And Minneapolis North, also a potential section opponent because they classed up together.
Yep.
Maranatha will be the last year for Jacqueline Jarnett. She's a senior, and she will be following her sister, Elena, over to Monmouth in New Jersey. All right, Stillwater gets the inbound play in. New Prague, they got a foul here. And they do. It's Alexis Pratt. New Prague was trying for the steal, but they had to foul right away because there were 8 seconds. It's a 10-second rule at the high school level, so Stillwater could have just held on to it. And Stillwater are aware of that rule. clearly. Looks like Emily Schmitz is fouled out. Pratt can pretty much ice it here. Well, she'll make them sweat a little bit longer. Now, well, make or miss, doesn't matter. If she makes it, it's over. If she misses, well, she makes it. Stillwater hangs on 60-56 off a strong second half from Sarah Scalia and Alexis Pratt. Scalia with 24, Pratt with 23.
Entertaining game to open this 2017-18 season here, Mike. And I expect that we'll see more games like this as the season progresses.
I believe we will. A lot of great matchups and a lot of great players who can make a name for themselves as the season moves along. We'll see if we can get a word with a couple of the Stillwater players before we pack it up from Hamline and head over to St. Thomas. You're watching the 18th annual Pat Paterson Thanksgiving Tip-Off. Stillwater defeats New Prague 60-56. It's a little noisy underneath the speaker here, and a couple of Stillwater players who made some noise today in the season opener, Sarah Scalia and Alexis Pratt. Sarah, we'll start with you. The two of you struggled a bit in the first half. Then in the second half, you guys took off. So what adjustments did you make to pick up the scoring?
I think towards the end of the game, we really just buckled down and played together as a team and took good shots.
And what kind of leadership are you going to take up this year? You're a junior. You've been around for a while, and I imagine will be one of the fulcrums of the Stillwater team.
I think I just have to be really vocal and cheer on our team and make them confident for down the.
And what is a game like this with New Prague? It was close all the way through. How does that help you prepare for what will be a tough season? As you've got Como Park, one of your non-conference opponents next week, Suburban East, Cretin-Durham Hall looks to be tough, and you've got White Bear Lake, they're a perennial.
Yeah, I think this just really I don't know. I think it's just it's because we came out with the win down the stretch, so it just tells us that we're not giving up and we're going to stay strong to the end.
And after one game, how welcome is it to have someone like Alexis Pratt on your side?
Oh, I think it helps me a lot. It makes me the other team worried about her too and not just me, and gives me more open shots, and I think we work good together.
And it's only one game, a long way to go before we worry about playoffs, but what are your goals this year? Is a state tournament run in the works, or do you have some other objectives you'd like to accomplish?
Our goals are just to be confident to the end and stay strong and don't give up like we showed today, and work as a team.
And how big was that 4-point play? You got fouled from behind, hit a three-pointer, and New Prague was still fighting it, but that was a huge momentum swing in your favor.
Yeah, I think once I hit that, it just gave our team a lot of positivity and know that we're still in it, and came out with the win, so that was good.
And speaking of big shots, Alexis, you did the same thing toward the end, turned a broken play into a three-pointer from the corner, so how did you keep your concentration?
I just tried not to worry about any of the other players that were guarding me. Just try to focus on the basket and make shots.
Now, the last time I saw you, you were getting baskets with North St. Paul and winning some track meets as well. So what led you to go from North St. Paul to here? And after a few practices and a first game, how are you fitting in with Stillwater?
I'm fitting in really good. All the girls, they're really nice to me, and it's going to be a long ways. We're going to have more chemistry and stuff like that, but I'm really great to be here at Stillwater with all the girls.
In the first half, you were struggling to get some shots to fall and also having trouble with your teammates. You were setting them up nicely. What changed in the second half where you just went off for 18 points?
I had to just, not worry about what happened in the first half, go for the second half and, keep my head up and keep shooting shots no matter what.
And how would you say you're fitting in with the Stillwater team and with Willie Taylor, who has quite the pedigree if you go back a ways with the two titles at St. Paul Central?
Well, he does a lot of good things for me and Sarah. You know, he lets us push the ball up the floor, but we're good at defense. We just have to communicate more. So, yeah.
And are you going to still do some track in the spring?
Yeah, I'm still doing track.
Well, I suppose Stillwater will enjoy your speed there, and I think they enjoyed your speed today. And before we go, is there anyone you want to say hi to?
No, not really.
So unappreciative. I'm kidding. Alexis, do you have anyone you want to say hi to?
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. To my brothers and sisters, hi.
Well, Alexis to find somebody. Nah, it's okay. It's all right. We have got to give you a little bit of a tease after a hard-fought win like this. But congratulations, and hopefully it's the first of many wins coming your way over at the St. Croix Valley.
Yes, thank you.
That was Sarah Scalia and Alexis Pratt of Stillwater. That wraps up our coverage here from Hamline. For our entire crew, this is Mike Peden. Thank you for watching.
Singleton checks in for the Spartans.